We certainly do have a long way to go, for sure. Samantha, Fats and Jay join us now.
Morning.
But what is so brilliant about this show, we do have a long way to go, I do agree with you, but it at least gets the conversation going. Is that one of the reasons you wanted to be a part of the show?
I think one of the biggest things that I get asked from my non-disabled friends and colleagues is, you know, we don't want to put our foot in it. We don't want to say the wrong thing. It's not that we don't want to interact with disabled and neurodivergent individuals. It's just that we're all maybe a little bit too British and we don't want to upset someone. And I totally understand that. But I always say, you know, you avoiding that uncomfortable, you know, disability taboo subject. A conversation is actually marginalising already a, you know, marginalised group.
And I guess all three of you also, you can tell when someone is saying something, the motivation behind someone saying something, between an innocent mistake about how language evolves, for example, and someone who is, you know, has got a bit of an edge to it, I suppose.
So usually I find it's better to ask what kind of language they want to use on us, because I think a lot of the time, for example, the word, the M word, I want to say it, midget, is offensive to a lot of short stature people. And a lot of people don't know that. For a long time in school, people would make fun out of people with short stature, including me, and now it's known as to be a bad word. But a lot of people don't know it still. So it's all about asking the right questions as well.
And I think that's what your show does so brilliantly. Like, Jay, we were talking this morning. I was watching the first show, and it had never even crossed my mind that doing dating apps would even be difficult, because basically I'm so old that dating apps weren't around when I was dating. But also, you tend to think of the physicality, like the difficulties you would face physically, but you don't think about it emotionally.
No, you don't. I think with the way that dating apps are now as well these days, everything's very accessible. So in terms of, you'll see it anywhere when you know, if you stream it and watch it.
On ITV.
But we do talk about, like, our experiences, even though that we've had very different experiences within dating and relationships.
And are those fun experiences?
It is quite hard.
Are those, like, are some of those experiences, like, are they kind of like just war stories that you tell? Like,
oh, yeah. I think plenty.
Get those espresso martinis in here. Come on.
Yeah, there's also a late night version of this show, believe you me.
I think it goes from, you know, negative attitudes, so your insensitive, ableist ignorance that you often get, but also the practicality. So for me, I went through a phase of going out dating. I was like, come on, Samantha, you got to do this. I went out, but, you know, living in London, getting taxis everywhere, and then going on a date that A, didn't have an accessible bathroom, then going on the date and really not liking the person, then thinking, oh, blimmin' it, paid for that now, and I need to pay another 40 quid to get back in a taxi. And I was like, I couldn't physically do it anymore. You know? So there's so many different barriers that disabled people face, and it's so different depending on that individual. There's 1.3 billion disabled people globally, and I think we need to take that as face value. You know, get to know that individual. Yes, we may have our disability identity, but we're humans at the end of the day. You know, and our lived experience will be very different. All our lived experiences are very different, and that's what's been beautiful about the show, is that, yes, we all have this label disabled, but we're so different. And that's beautiful, you know?
You know what was interesting watching the first one was thinking even of the safety aspect of it as well. Like, you'd have to think about how safe you were going to be on a date anyway, if you were going to... But then you guys have another layer to that as well.
Absolutely. I mean, I've been preyed upon by people who may, you know, like me purely because of my disability.
I was going to say the fetishisation.
You say it again 3 times fast.
Is that even... Did I get it right? Fetishisation.
I don't know. You know, I know that we've all kind of experienced that. I've experienced it firsthand where people have targeted me, but they've not told me that actually they want to date someone who's maybe a wheelchair user or someone who is petite stature. And I think for me, it's more about consent. You know, I'm more than happy to explore someone's fetish if they want that, but tell me about it first. And I think what you said, Kat, is completely true. It's more about feeling safe as a disabled woman or a disabled person altogether, you know, and that's what hopefully, again, this show will highlight is how you can be that strong ally and not necessarily constantly rely on disabled people to educate us. It needs to be a two-way street, and that's what's beautiful about Disability History Month. It's about learning and taking the onus away from disabled people a little bit.
I learned so much even in that
as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got to be, as long as you go about it in the right, correct way, in the correct manner, ask all the questions, and, you know, you will get the answers. Like, this show for us is more of educating, but in a light-hearted manner, rather it all being... Because we didn't want it to be like a pity party, did we?
No,
we wanted it like, you know, because sometimes disability is looked at in a negative light rather than a positive light. So
who does that reach, right? I mean, you know, because the last thing you want for this, I suppose, is just for disabled people to be watching. You need other, you know, like any form of History Month, like you need people, you need the wider message to be put out. How far do you think representation has come in the last 10, 20 years?
I think it's definitely come a long way, but there still needs to be a lot of work. To say that we are the first disabled-led chat show in 2024 it's great, yes, but at the same time, it's like, why did it take so long? You know, kind of thing. But I'm happy.
In that right direction.
We're heading in the right direction, which is exciting.
How easy was it to find the chemistry? Because so much about what happened, like, was there anything that you're like, OK, that's off topic, I'm not going to talk about that?
I'm getting the sense nothing was off topic.
The crew made us feel super comfortable, and it gave us the space. And I feel like with these beautiful ladies, I felt so comfortable just expressing myself. And, you know, same with these two, they
we felt comfortable together, didn't we? And we all had, like, that safe space where we all felt like we can open up to each other. We got on really well, like, straight away.
I think
like, it was just natural. The conversation flowed very well, didn't it? So...
They should have had cameras in the dressing room, put it that way.
It's always the place. It's always the place.
You know, the one thing that struck me, especially with you, Samantha, and Fats, is that just how the world has evolved, but at the same time, it's when you're at home, you're reading my notes, you're like, well, at home I'm just a normal person. Everything is set the way I need it to be. It's only when you leave the house you're aware of disability.
So disability is essentially a social construct. Like, I'm disabled by the environment, so my home is completely adapted to me, so I'm self-sufficient. Yeah, of course, I've got brittle bones, that's my condition, that's what I was born with. But in my home, I don't see myself as disabled. I've got, you know, automatic windows and automatic front doors and, you know, a kitchen that's lower counter. In fact, will be very similar. But as soon as I step out my front door and someone's blocked my, you know, path with their car, or the lift is broken because someone's vandalised it, that's when I become essentially disabled.
Such a good turn of phrase, that, disabled by your environment.
Yeah.
I completely agree. And so many people say to me, I don't see you as disabled, but I'm in a disabling world. So, of course, I'm disabled. They just say, oh, I just see you as short. But me being short in a world where everything is not adapted to me, it disables me. So
see, we're getting take home already.
You'll learn a lot from this series.
Yeah, you
will.
But I love just watching you as three women chatting together as well. It's absolutely brilliant. Amazing stuff. The first episode of Unfiltered Women is available now to watch on ITVX. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Christmas market.
I know. Want the wine?
Thank you so much for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every single day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the morning.